All right, so that's Sepp Blatter coming out this time to promise that he's sure that March, Brazil will show to the world that they're ready to host the World Cup. We hope so, because I've never seen a World Cup postponed before, and I don't think I'm ready to see one.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got no plan.
I'm already feeling embarrassed for FIFA if it happens.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's like watching a horror movie. You don't know what next is going to go wrong for Brazil. Out of the 12 stadiums, 6 are not on target. They've pushed the dates back. It was meant to be December, then February. Now we're looking at possibly March or April. Who knows if it's even going to be ready? You had people as well, the construction workers that died while building the stadiums. You just wonder. It's just all going wrong for Brazil at the moment. And they've had so much time to prepare. Even Sepp Blatter said that South Africa, with less money, were able to prepare on time, build stadiums from scratch. And they had less time than Brazil to get ready for the World Cup.
All right, let's move away from Brazil and their problems and come home and just look back at what happened yesterday. We talked about it for a long time. We gave you the build-up to it, and we had a preview the night before. How close were we to being spot on? We got almost everything correct. The only one, even at that time, Yemi, our prediction wasn't that Mikel was going to win. We said it was going to be close to call.
Yeah.
So let's spend some time and talk about the Glow CAF Awards. And let's start by just going back to what happened yesterday and quickly give you, at a glance, the winners of the different categories. A lot of categories actually named, and so we just start by showing you one after the other the different categories and the winners in those different categories of the Glow CAF Awards. Let's start with those who are no longer with us. The two guys, foreigners they are, came to Africa, found love and refused to leave. Bruno Metsu and Mehdi Faria. Of course, they are the son of Mehdi Faria was there. The widow of Bruno Metsu was there as well to pick up the awards from CAF. But it's good to see that CAF at least is doing some form of recognition, and we hope that some of these legends can get these awards while they are alive. Coach of the Year, easily. I mean, Stephen Keshi picked this one up for Nigeria on the strength of what he did, beating his compatriots, Manu Gaba and Paul Pot of Burkina Faso to the award. I think there's no argument about who was the standing coach.
You can close your eyes and pick that.
I mean, you can pick this. Referee of the Year, Amouidi Jamel of Algeria, handled the Nations Cup final. The picture of this man when he blew the final whistle at the Nations Cup. You were in South Africa, Mimi. Vincent Enyama, our goalkeeper, was going to carry Amouidi Jamel, lift him up at the final whistle. The excitement of winning the Nations Cup was there. But then this man has been, I mean, top referee. And of course, not a surprise that he's on the short list for the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil. I mean, I'm happy that Africa can produce top quality referees like this. Yemi, any surprises for Elali emerging the winners of this one? No league football 2 years.
It just had to be Elali. It just had to be them. In spite of all the challenges, in spite of all the problems, Africa's best over and over. And definitely miles, shoulders ahead their nearest competitors. And obviously, I'm happy. This one too, you could almost go to sleep and pick Al-Ahly.
Yeah, but now football is back in Egypt.
Yeah, that would mean they would be stronger.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fair play, Mimi. I mean, for the first time, we're seeing fair play awards not going to a team. We're seeing fair play go to supporters. And I mean, all across the African continent, these people are well known for the drama, the color, the excitement to bring to football games. That's why people love to play Nigeria or love to have Nigeria in competitions.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The
supporters club.
Because exactly, you get the supporters who are so vibrant and so passionate and so colorful. You know, not having them there wouldn't have been so colorful and as exciting. So the Under-17, the African Cup of Nations, they're very loyal fans, and I'm glad that they've been recognized.
Yeah, all right, so that's a good one for them. And apart from the color that they bring, they're also very disciplined. Most promising talent beating the Ghanaian and the Egyptian, Kelechi Iheanacho, is brought a unique way of celebrating goals now. Yeah. That wrestler must be happy that there's a Kelechi Iheanacho to make him even more popular. But I think this is a good one. Yeah. But the challenge for us, Yemi, is keep this guy level-headed and let him live to his potentials. Yeah,
we hope he doesn't get derailed. Hope the search for greener pasture will just cut short his career. And then this one, you have any arguments about this? No. No one? No. I mean, beating Ethiopia. I mean, our competitors even know that they can't win it. Ethiopia and Yeah,
Burkina Faso.
We beat both of them. That's why I knew the coach of the year was going to go to a Nigerian because we beat both teams.
One to win, becoming African champions.
Yes,
and one to go to the World Cup.
It was always going to be Nigeria. So no argument about that.
Platinum Award, President Goodluck Jonathan. Arguably, I mean, the sports minister came on air and said the most successful Nigerian president. Maybe in one sense it could be right because General Sani Abacha was a military head of state.
Spent more time than President Jonathan. I don't think there's
and he was a military head of state.
I don't think there's any argument about that.
Sani Abacha had 2 Olympic gold medals. 2 Olympic gold medals in 96. Nations Cup in 94.
Let's look at what President Jonathan
achieved this year.
In 5 years. Then we can judge. But for once you have a sports-loving president, always available, ready to give you the support, deserves the award.
All right, so that's a good one. We hope that the World Cup will also bring more good luck to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Player of the year based in Africa, Mohamed Abutrika, Yemi.
It wasn't going to be Sunday Mba. Scored 2 goals at the Nations Cup, didn't play any other game. What else? And like you said, it happened in January. If it happened in September, it probably would have stayed long in our minds. This was somebody at
and this guy won the CAF Champions League.
Exactly.
Scored crucial goals. Beautiful goals.
All through the year. Was playing.
Legend as well in Egypt, so had to go to him.
All right, so Abutrika, unfortunately, is bowed out. He's retired, but it will always have
a good send-off for him.
A good send-off. Mimi, are you surprised that we also picked this one up? Youth National Team of the Year, under 17?
Not at all. If Nigeria,
they were so convincing in Dubai.
Yeah, absolutely. They were very convincing in Dubai. I watched them, the young players coming through. It was a shame, though. I was looking out for Isaac's success. It's a shame that he got injured so early on. But still, he was still part of the team. So it was great seeing them get the award.
All right, so that's a good one for the under 17 boys. As we said, we hope that these guys can keep a level head and play up to their potentials. And then the big one, the Ivorian.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe what will you say about this one? You see him play week in, week out in England?
I see him play week in, week out in England.
How much of an influence does this guy have? And how loved is he in the United Kingdom?
Honestly, he's absolutely loved. He's absolutely... I think even if you're not a Manchester City fan, people do respect pundits, fans. I've interviewed several African players in the English Premier League, in the UK, and everybody has nothing but good things to say about Yaya Toure. So even the BBC had the African Footballer of the Year.
For the first time we're seeing someone win the BBC and the CAF Awards in 1 year.
Yeah, so
that's a record.
Yeah, it is a record. And you can see globally that's where the mindset is, for not just for Africa, but as well internationally. People are looking at Yaya Toure.
All right, so that's the man who clinched the very glamorous Player of the Year award. But there was another thing that came up before we listen to Yaya, because Yaya had a few things to say. Keshi also spoke. We'll listen to them. There was the Africa Finest 11. That's the best Africa's Finest 11. Let's run through that list very quickly. I hope you can also see it on your screen. The goalkeeper, Vincent Enyama, is there for Nigeria. Ahmed Fati of Egypt, Mehdi Benatia of Morocco, Kevin Constant of Guinea. That's a three-man defense line.
I don't know what was on their minds.
Maybe 3-5-2.
3-4-3.
Or 3-4-3. That's a unique one. You have to be creative with this.
I wonder if the guys in the midfield could play together. But
Jonathan
surely Africa's best.
Yeah, Jonathan Petropa, John Obi Mikel, Yaya Toure, and Mohamed Abutrika. That's a dream midfield combination. And then the attack, Emmanuel Emenike, Asamoah Gyan, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Interestingly, Didier Drogba finished in the top 3 for the awards, of the most glamorous awards, and is missing from Africa's Finest 11. How can we explain that?
You could explain that because football.
This was purely technical committee.
Yes.
That recommended the Africa Best 11.
That's why
it was technical committee and media that chose for the Player of the Year. Is that some justification?
There is, because look, when you're selecting players, you have good players on the bench. Sometimes there's always a particular approach. I don't know the approach that they were looking at, but that's what explains why a good player will be on the bench, because for some reasons another person will be preferred. You were going to pick 3 strikers, and I imagine probably they're looking at other people who could do other things apart from being a center forward. I don't know. I'm just trying to give
I
you
think
comments.
also charisma maybe plays, because I don't know, when they're looking at the media, they're looking at as well charisma, and yeah, I mean, and DJ Drogba is a big character, so it wouldn't surprise me. That's why maybe he was picked for the African Player of the
And
Year.
then missing in this one.
Yes,
Missing in this one.
possibly.
I don't know whether you are convinced. If you are, tell us on Twitter what you feel about the Glow CAF Awards 2013, Mikel missing out, and all of those. And tell us why a Drogba would not be in Africa's best 11, and then it will finish third on the most important award, that's for the Player of the Year. We'll listen to Yaya Toure now, the reigning king, successfully winning his crown, and he's joined the likes of Samuel Eto'o and Abedi Pele, who have won it 3 times on the bounce. We'll listen to Yaya Toure, we'll listen to Stephen Keshi, and then we'll come back for more on Sports Tonight.
To be honest with you, it was quite tight, to be honest with you, because it was a good there was good opponent for me, I think Maka was doing well, Drogba also, even a couple of players from Nigeria. But I think for me, I was thinking maybe I will lose it, but I think I have lucky today. I'm very proud of myself, and what I'm doing now, I'm doing very well, and I'm very happy with that. For me, I could have won the best coach of the year if not for my players. I cannot do it alone. And also, even for my assistant coaches, they're the one behind the scene, working their head off and all the time. It's not easy. So I just come out to blab my mouth a little bit, but they are the ones behind.